Hello everybody and welcome to I've got a slight cold but I'm feeling a bit better than I was last week boy here, and welcome back to the first commentary I've done of the decade. If you don't know, this is AOR. I hope you imagine it is because it's on the AOR channel, and we're here for the final round of the GT3 calendar, the final race of the season, but the first race of the year and the first race of the decade. And joining me in this commentary box for the first race of the decade and the last race of the season, it's confusing, it is my good old friend VSR, not Ethan anymore, it's VSR Rotary Engine.
Hello guys, we're back for the final round of AOR GT3 Season 14 in the new decade. Yes, Evil is correct, I did change my name as a part of our Visceral Racing rebrand, but that's nothing to do with this. But Evil, we're here on a very, very special occasion because Spa, a very, very, very dynamic and unique circuit, but the racing here is going to be dynamic and the point system is going to be dynamic. We've got double points on offer. So first place can get 70 points alone, just 70 points alone, if they manage to get the fastest lap as well. That's 72 points in total. So this race is going to be something special, and we've also got a slight, well, it's not a full day-night cycle, but it does go into the evening and dark night. So we've got that element of endurance racing here for the drivers, so a real challenge to end off this season. And I've got to say, it's been quite a good season, but what's your thoughts on today's, on the fort? What do you think is going to happen at Turn 1, Evil?
Well, in previous experience, Turn 1, it's a tight corner of the source hairpin. You come off there, it's a short run as well, so we've seen what can happen in real life, especially in touring cars to open wheel. There's always a chance of someone tripping up in the background, and of course, well, when one car makes a mistake, everything goes up and over. Then you got to look for the guys down towards El Rouge and Radium. And remember, of course, make sure you don't hit the barrier on the inside, because, unlike real life, it's not a black hole that doesn't suck you in and then, well, beat you with a broomstick over and over again. So, watch out for drivers hitting that interesting object there. And, of course, you run yourself up towards Rouge, down Radion, and then into Le Comte. Watch out for the Comte as well. Tricky on the opening couple of laps. The rear end will be very much on cue to wanting to slide, so let's hope they all can manage through that. Only have a real corner to look out for. P1 could always be an opportunity to overtake. And of course down towards Blanchimont and the bus stop as well. A favourite for quite a lot of the drivers. A few of them, for example, Scold 1808, or Lewis as we normally call him, been struggling a lot trying to find the braking zone down there. So let's hope for everyone that it doesn't end up all going straight.
Yeah, this track, like I said, very, very difficult and unique. GT Racing, very, very renowned around this circuit. Obviously, the Spa 24 Hours takes place every year. So there's plenty of overtaking opportunities for these GT cars, Evil. But, like you said, the opening laps could be very, very chaotic. And just to add to that chaos, we've got a reverse grid as well. So what is reverse grid? Reverse grid is where we reverse the championship standings, and whoever is last in the championship, so 16th for example, will start on pole position, and obviously our championship leader, who is Gaza, will start in last place. So it does shake up the grid a bit. It gives those who aren't at the front every so often an opportunity to have a good race, and obviously it gives the faster drivers, the drivers who have really got that experience, a chance to show what they've got and make their way through the field as quickly as possible. But since we're on the subject of reverse grid, we'll go through that. So in first place, we have De Thomas. In second... No, Jasko's been put to the back of the grid because he hasn't scored any points. We have De Thomas in first place. Scold 808 in second. Big Kid Daddy in third. Camo in fourth. Esso Racing in fifth. Papano in sixth. Vectro in 7th, Leonardo in 8th, Coco SBR in 9th, Dylan VSR Wolf in 10th, Jam in 11th, Jazzman, championship contender in 12th, Tinus, another championship contender in 13th, Benji McClusker, known as Boy Raxa, another championship contender in 14th, and our championship leader is Gazet in 15th, and Jasko VR non-point scorer, and I think this is his second race starting in 16. So that is the grid evil. All of our championship contenders all the way at the back. So it's going to be a real test for those guys to pull out as quickly as possible, especially Jazzman, who has not had a good batch of races for a couple of weeks straight now. He hasn't had that many good races, so this is a golden opportunity for him to maybe scratch the top pickings, but it's going to be a tall order for him.
Yeah, indeed. We're watching Vectro and Wolf there going side by side. It's going to be tough. Down the back, you're starting in reverse. Now, there is no qualifying, by the way, so this is just straight practice. They have to have it, of course. And let's just take a quick hot lap around this beautiful Spa. Never mind, it's gone in the pit lane. A beautiful, look at Skull, guys. Let's go, Skull, come here. Let's got a beautiful hot lap of this Spa Francorchamps circuit.
So,
with a cough.
Turn 1, heavy braking zone. Into the source, a bit of a banked corner allows you to get on the power nice and early, bring it up to the left hand side curb and then bring it slightly down to the right. Like Evil mentioned, this wall on the outside here does have a tendency to suck people in and cause massive issues. Now Upper Rouge, through Radion, make sure not to cut that part of the circuit because it will give you a warning. Now down the Camel Straight, this is where the Audi suffers a bit. I've done some picking on the cars, Evil. I found out the Audi only has about 477 brake horsepower coming up to this part of the track. Into the com, heavy braking zone, you can brake quite late to the uphill section. So you can see Lewis struggling along the traction, is catching out a lot of drivers through this turn here. Don't know what it's called. Make sure you do not touch the bollards. They do give you quite a bit of hefty damage into Brussels. You can carry the speed in here. You see Lewis carries a lot of speed in, halves the speed on the apex and then brings it back out. Now into X corner. Fun little corner this one, but bring it out on the power now into the, well, I'd say the second fastest section of the track. Pull on. Quite a difficult corner for these GT cars because it's on the cups for mechanical grip and aerodynamic grip, but Lewis keeps it on the track, keeps it neat and tandy. Now into the Fania chicane, I believe. Is the Fania chicane? Yes, the Fania chicane. This is where you saw the Audi R18 e-tron go around the outside of a Porsche 919 in 2015. These cars share no similarities to those cars as Lewis takes out the bollards, giving himself some damage as he goes wide at the Stavalos. Now back uphill down this straight slash corners. Like I said, Evil, the Audi is going to really struggle here. It's a safe car, it's going to be good in the long run, but it hasn't got that power up the straights because the Mercedes has about 508 brake horsepower with current with supposed engine settings. This car about 30 brake horsepower less. It's going to be really tough as Skull goes into the bus stop, misses his braking zone a little bit, open up the last part of it, get on the power nice and early. You can use all that curb and AstroTurf on the exit. And that is a lap of Spa-Francorchamps, and he does a 221.0, which is not a bad lap.
Behind Tinnis, who's so far just showing us what he can do. He's 110 litres, by the way, so those are potential race pace lap times. But of course, Spa first hosted a race back in the 1930s, of course, around what was, for the longest period of time, the second most dangerous circuit in the world. The old circuit that was about double the length of this, about 10, 12, maybe 13 kilometres. This one about 7 kilometres long now. My apologies for that. But, just, well, really cut in half, really, might I say, by Jackie Stewart in F1, of course, in 1970, of course, boycotted the 1969 race. In 1970, they cut the circuit. Last hosted a proper race on the original circuit in 1974, I believe, for the likes of the old GTA class, of course, the old prototypes. Didn't return until 1984 in terms of driving. There was touring car races and GT started turning up there. Very famous circuit, of course, for very infamous reasons. Stefan Beloff tragically lost his life just around here where we're coming up, of course, El Rouge. And of course, we've seen some spectacular accidents around here, Ethan, in Le Mans cars, and especially more recently as well.
Yeah, the Spa even though it's half its length, still holds its terrifying and dangerous spectacles. Obviously, if anybody has been living under a rock, 2019 was quite a depressing year for Formula 2, sadly losing Antoine Hubert, who tragically lost his life at the top of Radion. And that corner, Radion, it's been under a lot of scrutiny. They've done so many, trying to modify it in such ways that it gets rid of that danger. I mean, you remember Evil, I think it was in 2018, one of the LMP1 prototypes, the privateer car flipped, it literally did a full backflip over the top of Radion.
Yeah.
And then they've contemplated on moving the barriers, putting the gravel traps back, but I just don't think they can do that. I mean, obviously, it used to have a hairpin back in the old days, like
back in the 30s.
But people say, "Oh, keep the danger," because race is part of racing. But like, we're so used to the way the cars are, the safety, that a death really does take us by surprise. And last year was a definite nod at that, but. Thankfully, we don't have to put up with things like that in simulator racing, because our drivers, they race at home behind TV screens, so they don't have to worry about being injured unless they're using a very, very strong wheel. But most of the drivers here, they will be fine today. Now, this is going to be the interesting part, getting into grid order.
Yes, indeed. Now, company standard, by the way, we will wait 5 seconds, and then what will happen is they will all pull off the grid one at a time, but they will wait for De Thomas to get himself up to P1, and then wait for Skull to get through, and they'll all slot each other into position one by one until they're all in order. 40 laps ahead of the drivers, 1.5 hour race, and it is starting in beautiful early sunshine conditions, Ethan.
Yeah, very, very picturesque, and it's going to finish a little bit darker. It's not a full 24-hour cycle. It's about 16 hours, I believe, from what I've heard. It's about every 6 minutes is how many hours? An hour in game time. So it's not a full day-night cycle like I think the coordinators had planned, but nonetheless, it does simulate what a 12-hour race, or just over a 12-hour race, will look like. So very similar to other 12-hour races around the world, but this game really does capture that quality, doesn't it? Even though it's not the world's most beautiful game like ACC and GT Sport, which are very, very beautiful games, it still is very, very pretty, and especially at times like this with the sun flare and the heat waves and all that, it is very pretty. But here we go, Evil. The drivers moving out of the way, going over to the left and right to create some space, which is not a bad idea, but they all start moving. It should take them up until about the Camel Straight to get into grid order.
Scold should be the next one to jump in line. There you can see him coming up second. So the first two already in order, but Kid Daddy started ordering up front anyway, so he doesn't have to do too much. But
same with Camo as well.
He'll start very high up on the order as well, so very fortunate for all of them. Of course, mentioned, of course, my calculator says 3 laps per hour, so 39 divided by 3 is something.
We're already in grid order as well, so they did it even before Rouge.
They're incredibly quick, and that is just tier 1 standards. Get themselves all in order. You can see them all down the bottom of our Rouge, and one car a little wide there as well in the background. This is where they all start to weave and swerve. And remember, anything can happen here today. The championship may be in Gazza's hands right now, but remember, Gazza by technicality has to win this race, because by Raxa, on the countback of the result they can remove, is leading the championship.
It's a real this is a real tiebreaker almost. We completely forgot about the removal of your worst race. It was an application put in by AOR a couple of seasons ago, I think, where you can remove your worst result. And boy, Raxa, to be fair, he deserves to be in that position of winning the championship, because he's done really solid this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's on stage to upstart the man who has to beat Byraxer. If Byraxer has a bad race and Gaza has a bad race, I believe...
Tinnis next, isn't it?
Tinnis is 20 points off the lead. And those are the only three mathematically in shot of the championship. By Jazzman is, I think, 68 points, so
yeah,
pretty much out of the championship, no matter what happens due to the results, unless some simply catastrophic thing happens, where everyone in front of it, well, behind him, disconnects, might I say. Of course, Scold up front, had a horrible season this year. Third lowest driver in the season. Of course, Jasko is second lowest, but he is, well, he's the lowest actually, but he did not.
He's a reserve driver. Well, so this is the formation part. I think this is the 2x2 formation. Before the race gets started, just going to give a quick shout out to some of the drivers here, well, some of the racers who are watching. Shout out to Foggy and Kevin Meyer. Kevin Meyer, a driver this season, not actually here to race, but here to watch. And he claims it was a nice season for him, and it's been fabulous having you race with us, Kevin, this season. But we're ready to go, guys. The round Blanchimont. And Evil, for the first race of the decade, you have the golden opportunity to kick-start this race.
Well, let's start the kick-start of this decade. Let me kick-start the season. Three drivers. One way to start the season, one way to finish the season. Will it be sunshine? Will it be drama? Excitement? Or galore? It's got a little bit quick left for the last corner, but he gets it all sorted as he just waits for everyone to line up. But who will be crowned champion today, as we are officially just about to start the race? They're on for a while, and now they get underway. It's got a terrible start there. Immediately needs to start covering off Big Kid Daddy there. Down towards turn 1. Big Kid Daddy immediately launches up the inside then, and through turn 1 they go then. Big Kid Daddy already trying to come through. Skullbone on the exit of turn 1. But Thomas leads straight away, and that's a good start for him as they come down towards. And
this is going to be very, very close.
Scold looking, and he's through then on the inside up towards El Rose. Exactly what he needs to do. Is everyone clean through the top though? Just about though, side by side through the front, everyone through the back cleanly looks like it. So everyone clean crucially away. The one
there's contact
and
on
that
the
isn't what you
straight.
want to be doing. That isn't what you want to be doing there, and they somehow avoid it.
Wow, that is such good control of... Wow, that is unbelievable. That's car control at its maximum there. Lewis has got a penalty. I think something's happened. Yep, Tinnis. Oh, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of cars off. I think something happened in the midfield, and it's forced all the cars off the track. Coco's ended up at the back. Just as we mentioned, I mentioned good car control. There's an absolute
Wolf as well,
cluster going on.
Petro battling as well. Yep. So now that's Camo having a look up the inside as well. That's a little bit brave. So I was looking at the background, by the way. That's why it's cut to the back, because there was a car that was Tinnis. I believe it was Tinnis on the grass down towards, or it must have been now by Rax. He was already up to P6.
That's already, yeah. Where's his teammate Gaz? 13th. I think Gazza must have got caught up in that absolute mayhem that was in Lacombe. Yeah, because he's all the way back there. Has he got any damage is the question. Well, same with Boy Raxer, because there's a few cars that have been nicked by the looks of it. Cameo's got a bit of damage.
Yeah. Coco's front split is completely gone. And
Jam. Oh, he's hit the wall hard. Front and rear.
Damage. But Jazzman somehow is second.
First grids for you.
Reverse grids in one lap first. Well, last to first question mark challenge. Well, he's done it in a lap. Now he's got 38 laps to go. And what a stonking start from the man who was born in beautiful conditions. Right now, is having a beautiful season. And so far, it's an outside chance of winning the championship. Remember, though, Tinnis right now is where he needs to be as well to be going up there. But by Raxer, more crucially, is exactly where he needs to be, because he has to beat Gaza. Gaza right now, down there in 13th position. It could not be a worse start.
No, he's in a really bad position, and he's stuck in that dirty air pocket. He's in a bit of that grey zone. Manages to... Oh, there's a cut off faster, Thomas! Oh, he's lost that top of Radion. Oh, dear. There goes his
ring is gone.
Yeah, that's about 140 mile an hour accident, and nobody collected him. As Dylan gets by Camo. Camo slots into the middle of that gap. Gaza not having a good race. Look at track Camo onto the back of Wolf, and is he going around the outside? No, he's not.
He's going to get forced off there, and he'll be contacted if not.
It's close. This is going to give Gaza an opportunity here, Evil, if he has that. Oh, Dylan, he's been complaining about the brakes. The brakes have not been up to standard on Dylan's car. Apparently, he's been struggling getting that car slowed down. I mean, Mercedes, like from previous experience, a very fast car. You have to give it a bit more time to slow down. You need to give about an extra few meters. Can't usually brake as late as you can in a Lamborghini or an Audi, as Dylan actually runs wide there. But Gaza in the worst place because he's got two cars giving him no air or no downforce, no cool air either. So he's in a bit of a bad spot here.
Yeah, he got front to Thomas, and that is pretty much his race is over. I think that race is over.
I hope he soldiers on.
Yeah, 100 rear damage, suspension, that's a hard impact just at the top of Radion, and we don't like seeing that going on, especially at the opening stages of races. And, well, luckily, especially there was not many cars on the outside line there, very fortunately, otherwise that could have been an aeroplane accident.
Very good job it didn't happen on the first lap, because that would have been nearly half the field gone, potentially, then.
I mean, well,
something going on up front, he's outbraked himself trying to go for Lewis.
Lewis should be easy pickings though. He's always a driver, he likes coming back. Let's see, is he going to try it? Down towards someone, is he going to have a little look up the inside? He thinks about it. Doesn't do it though. Thinks a long game. A podium is on the options and on the cards for him, isn't it though?
Yeah, to be fair, Lewis, he's been doing a lot of practice. He's been practicing a lot for this race. He's probably seen the opportunity displayed to him and he's taken advantage of that. Despite him having a penalty, he is in a good position. 145 miles, that's quite planted, that Audi up a Rouge. Managed to follow full throttle up there as well. I remember I had a bit of a scary off up a Rouge following two other cars in season 11. That pretty much wiped out my race. But Lewis actually not doing too bad, but someone who is absolutely flying. Papano in the other Audi, 219.6.
Gaza finally getting past, that's Jasko. Who's battling actually with Gaza. So Gaza
someone's gone off at the comp. So there's chaos going at the comp again. Someone's gone off. That's Essa, I think.
Yes, is that Leonardo potentially as well? Maybe. So the con, we mentioned it even, through being very difficult for all the drivers, and yet we can see to Thomas as he's coming here. He's only just got in the pits now.
Yeah, well, obviously, because he's got no rear wing, he's basically got nothing pushing those tyres down. He's basically reduced to road car speed. I think even supercars, I think even the supercar that car is based off, the normal R8, could go even faster than what he did. Just goes to show just how much these cars require their components to actually perform properly.
Jala's man up front, meanwhile. Jasko down in P12. Gaza not doing what he needs to be doing. He's down there at P11.
Really struggling.
And now, we said our calculations was if Gaza had finished around this position, he could be champion. Well, we did count the throwaway result, and it looks to me, unless they can throw away this result if it's really bad, because I don't know if they can.
I don't know. We don't know how it works. Because what's the worst result? I think the worst result Gaz has had is a P4. That's it. Every other race he's finished on the... I think he's had 2 P4s in every other race has been a podium finish.
You very much might be right there, Ethan. So this could have massive ramifications for the championship. And yeah, the lowest result with P4.
I mean, let's look at his times. 224. He could just be playing the long game. It is a long race.
He spun there. The rear end stepped out, and he's struggling. Scobie up down to P3. He's
been done by Papano.
Yeah, Papano and Scold. I was confused there. I thought that's Papano and Scold, the opposite order, of course. They changed liveries last season. And that's by Ratsa.
That's a very quick car.
Big Kid Daddy as well. everyone clean through the combo. That's the crucial thing.
I think this is the point now, because obviously the track started out quite cool, so it's probably about 85 degrees Fahrenheit / 90. Now we're getting into the middle part of the day. It should start warming up to around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's at an optimal temperature, and then obviously as we start going into the evening, it will start dropping down again as the Thomas is spun out at the Fania chicane.
He's not having any fun right now. Look at Mr. Remind, sounds like he's still got damage somehow, because that's a really odd place to spin, Ethan. Look, he seems to be struggling to keep it in a straight line.
I think he may have just spun on the brakes, because it's quite a late braking zone, Stavler, because you can carry a lot of speed in. He might have just been caught out by that. Obviously, setup's going to be kind of crucial here, Evil, because obviously you got to set your cars up for different temperature gauges, like different temperature zones. So obviously you want a car that's going to be good in the cooler conditions, but a car that's going to be able to stay reliable during the hotter temperatures. Tyres aren't going to overheat, the inner wall of the tyres not overheating too much and reducing the grip and all that. So suspension geometry, tyre pressures are all going to be very crucial for these drivers, and you're going to see whose cars are set up for what conditions. You might start seeing some of the cars that are designed or set up around the time we're at now starting to come alive a bit, and the cars that are designed for more the cooler evening coming back through. Look at this train here.
Yeah, Wolf, Vetro, Gaza and Jasko. And Vetro, I think they've had a look at the inside of Wolf. Wolf's just cleared Vetro actually, I believe. So Vetro right now, the cork in the bottom right now, holding 1, 2, 3, 4 cars behind him. And let's see, well, we'll have Gaza next up, and we remember how these two had a great battle last season for the pickings. And Gaza has a look at the inside, does
oh, there's a car, there's Leonardo.
And that looks like they've been in contact with the SS, I'm wondering.
Perhaps.
Because the SS right there, and now all of a sudden, now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars within a very short amount of time, as now Wolf leads them up the top. That's ESS that's leading them up the top. Remember how that Merc does not like one car very wide.
I think very much suffers.
Jasko very wide. Wolf should be a camel fodder out of the Audi, of course, in the straight line. And what's out in the background? Here comes Gaza swooping to the outside. He's leg brakes. Almost wipes out, and that's ESS going off the road, and he's causing all sorts of problems right now. He gets 1, 2. That is the definition of a mugging right there.
Yeah, he's nearly been mugged by all of these guys. He was at the front of this train. He's second to last in the train. Where's that popped up from? Since when has Coco had it? Oh, yeah, well, there goes ESS to the back of the train. But since when has Coco had a broken bumper?
He picked that up on that one, Ethan. On lap 2, when they started the race, and there's that melee going on to the com. He picked that up. So
it's a good job it hasn't fallen off yet, but that's literally hanging on by a paper thread, probably.
A bit of wind, and I think that might be gone. Well, meanwhile, Big Kid Danny all of a sudden is now in 6th and is under pressure from Wolf. So this battle is just going on and on.
We got a nice mix of cars here. We got a turbocharged Ferrari, we got naturally aspirated V10s and naturally aspirated V8. So it's a good mixture of cars here. I think the Audi definitely the weaker of the bunch here. I mean, like I said, you've got 470 brake horsepower down the straights compared to the Lamborghinis and Mercs around 490/500. So the Audi is going to suffer. Dylan looks like he's going to be sizing up Big Kid Daddy. Jasko running very, very wide in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, Vectro under press from Gaza. Gaza clears him around the outside, or does he? Should be an easy move. You can do it around the outside and get the inside for this corner. And you want to make sure, of course, you don't end up clipping the car behind, because Jasko puts himself in a position to overtake there and almost clips his front end off. Luckily does not. And now is he having a look up the inside? Thinks about it. Vectro dropping back. It's unfortunate to see, but it looks like he just hasn't got the pace in the Audi. His teammate, meanwhile, so far, P3 battling away with... that's by Rat, so you can see they're all going the way down towards the com. No switch position yet, but a 6-10 Vectro. Massive tank snapper there. And that is going to really compromise him up the top.
Yeah, that will really, really do him in now.
What's out for
He's got nowhere to go. He's going to have to sit there because Jasko's on his left. Coco's thinking about making it 3 wide. Is Coco going to do it? He's thinking.
Backs out. Vectro, has he got the position still? just about got the position still, and you can see how much they lose to Gaza in that corner. And now Coco comes back through on the inside of Jasko then. So Jasko, instead of gaining a position, is now defending and losing a position.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Jasko on the wrong line. He needs to be further ahead to claim the inside into the second part of the combo, but Vectro had the inside on the exit corner going towards Brussels, so he was able to get the power on earlier and claim it. To be fair, Jazzman's picked up a penalty, probably about 1 or 2 seconds. 1 second. Camo, a 10-second penalty. He's been in the pit lane, hasn't he? That's a speeding penalty, that, isn't it? Someone spun out, I think. Jasko spun out. He stalled the car as well. Oh, it didn't sound like contact. That sounded like the rear end switching around. The AOR cars are going to struggle with that. They do have a tendency to spin around a lot. I've seen during the practice, I've seen a lot of the AOR drivetrain cars switch around a bit. As Lewis has been demoted from P3, Boyraxer is into the top 3 positions.
Yeah, it looks like he's done him around the bus stop then. I think down the inside into the bus stop chicane most likely was the way he got through there. One car going very slow down turn 1. I'm wondering if that's Thomas that's catching up to. It is. Who's having a simply horrible. If it's gone wrong for the man, it's gone even wronger, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's soldiering on though. He's probably aware double points are on offer, and the fact that it's the final race of the season, so might as well finish it. It's Dylan and Gaza are now battling with Big Kid Daddy. Dylan and Gaza, these two have been pretty decent rivals throughout the season, both of them picking up a bunch of wins this season. It's a shame Dylan couldn't perform in the first half of the season. Had a bit of a sketchy start to the season, because I reckon had he had performed like he did in the second half, we could have had maybe a top 5 battle for the championship. Look at them. 3 wide? 3 wide? No.
Wolf blocks that one. You saw that coming from mile away. Wolf going to get a position. We're wide on board with Gaza. The answer to that is yes. Big Daddy's not going to make too much of a fight up against Wolf. And you'll have Gaza just sitting back, ready to pounce on him a few times. Meanwhile, Coco, right on the inside there, just about, I think, potentially game, just about didn't clip him. He got away a bit down the inside. Leonardo having a look. He can't do it either. And Vectro holding line beautifully.
Yeah, very, very good racing here. Proves GT cars do provide almost at every circuit, unless it's a Formula E circuit, which never provides racing, if I'm honest. I think Bruno's quite a good circuit, you know. I quite enjoyed it last season. That was quite a decent race. But like I say, GT cars definitely I'd say the pinnacle of motorsport in certain ways or in another. Obviously F1 being the most technologically advanced and probably the most fascinating to watch, but GT racing for the competitiveness is the best, I'd say.
Indeed, can't discredit that one.
Thomas is got out of the way.
Getting out of the way in a bit more than that. Parno, second position right now in this race. He's doing a good job. By Raxa in third. Skull now down to 4th. He's got a big gap to Tinners in 5th. Then comes Wolf, Gaza and Big Kid Daddy. Then comes this gaggle of Vectro, Coco Pops, Leonardo, DiCaprio and Issa Racing. And then behind them is Jasko after his spin. Camo, Jam and Thomas, who is up there battling with Matt.
Oh, Lewis is here. Doesn't look like damage. Leonardo's in too.
Yep, they're going for the early stop. Now, remember,
perhaps this is probably the point where they have to start refueling.
Vectro, under more pressure from Coco then. Coco, bit of contact there for a second on the exit. Now he gets a good exit. Now let's see, Ferrari's quick. Ferrari's very quick. He's got the turbo in the car as well, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see, can he just push alongside then? It'll be the inside towards the corner. That'll be brave. Vectro, he's going to hold around the outside. Rear end loses it. Keeps the inside though, but somehow does not gain position. Instead, Coco, brilliant overtake there around the outside. Good
sportsmanship there. It looked like Vectro was going to hang it around the outside, but he just lost the grip. Yeah, I think he ended up on the dirty part of the track as Essa. Very, very late on the brakes. But yeah, Vectro just kind of lost the rear there, and Coco just holding the inside line. Very good sportsmanship there, giving each other plenty of room, ensuring they were not going to have any contact up that fast and dangerous part of the circuit.
It's always spectacular to see cars battling around there. You can see Vector in the background actually battling away with the driver of VSS still. Those two battling away. We're looking at Gaza right now. So far, P6. It's not the best where he needs to be. So far, though, he's still on a score of getting the best top 4 still. He's not scored beyond the top 4 this season.
His pace is...
121.
It's very strange. Exactly. Like, this is... Because obviously Season 11 hosted... Spa was a part of that calendar. I don't know what the track conditions were like. I don't know if they were cooler or warmer, but I remember the pace fluctuating a lot because of the track temperatures. 218s were possible in a race, because it was a 90-minute race like this one, but it was mainly 219s, 220s, but 223s, low 22s. Like, I think there's maybe a bit of conservative driving going on. I think they're just getting into a rhythm and then going flat out at the end where it's a bit cooler.
You know it's going to be so cautious and make sure nothing possibly can go wrong up close. Making sure you take it easy, don't make mistakes, just drive within the car's limit is always the key point. And if you make a mistake, of course, you're going to be in the water across on this circuit. There's a few corners you can make mistakes at and get away with them. This is not one of them. Launchimont's a corner where you can go off as well. We've seen some very monumental accidents in real world motorsports around there, even, haven't we?
Yeah, Blanchimont, yeah, definitely.
I can't think of many in GT cars.
Lacon is another one. The Stavolo Fania is another one. Remember, there was a Super Trofeo that went off there, as well. But you can nearly... Well, yeah, there's a lot of corners that can cause issues, but there's a lot of corners that can bring up a lot of overtaking. I remember British GT 3 wide into a Rouge. It was a Bentley, a McLaren 720S, and a Mercedes 3 wide into a Rouge.
Oh, look, these guys, they're catching up to Tinners as well. Tinners are 22-1 last lap. I don't know if that was a slowdown or he's made a mistake somewhere, but he's also dropping off pace a little bit as well. You can see that fluctuation you talked about, you've really started to come into its own home right
Exactly, because look at the top 2. I mean, Parno in an Audi is setting sub-20s. Sub-20s in an Audi. He's got that car really hooked up. Jazzman going even faster, but I mean, he's in a Lamborghini and his pace is very, very good. We've seen that throughout his practice and practice sessions that we've joined Evil. His pace has been absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I think it's down to dirty air potentially, because some of these guys are going to be running a bit more higher downforce just to be a bit more safe, to make sure the car stays on track. Some of them are going to be taking advantage of the long straights, running a bit less downforce. See, Boyaxa does a 219 as well there. As Tinnis comes in, breaks off from that battle, I think he's realised how much slower he's going, decides to bail out of it to avoid losing less time, perhaps. Avoid losing more time, even. Are you there, Volks? I can't hear you anymore. Right, good. Thought you may have disconnected.
No, I was having a drink to recover my voice. As you could tell, I do apologise if my voice just suddenly disappear from reality. It does hurt. I have had a cold.
Lewis has had a very slow lap. S is in as well. Lewis has gone... Yeah. Oh, he hasn't got any damage. Good. Okay, yeah, it may have been his out lap, yeah. 222.9.
So he's still getting the pace up, of course, and you can see, of course, pad user, the highest pad driver this season, I believe, unless no, Coco's a pad driver, I believe, actually. So
Camo as well. There's quite a few pad drivers, and to be fair to him, they are some of the world's class. No, that's a wheel. That's a wheel. That's very smooth.
That's a pad.
Yeah, you're very much able to tell who's using a pad. And look at Jasko in the rear view mirror, just hounded right up to him. But yeah, like I said, Evil, these pad drivers, some world class. Lewis, on a good day in time trial, apparently he can set world record times in certain cars. Apparently, so we do have some really fast drivers here.
Yeah, he's 22,000 for road record by historic Le Mans, which this isn't the hardest circuit to get a world record at. I mean,
yeah.
it's just
But credit where it's credit's due. That is not a bad lap indeed.
Indeed, well, Jasco, and while we go on the bumper cam, don't often use it around this circuit, don't often use it here in the commentary box. We'll use it today as why not. You can just see just the contours of the R10 mountains, of course, situated, I believe, around about 1.5 hours on the motorway from the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Both have very similar circulated weather.
They do, don't they? Yes. I think we mentioned this previously. As we're going to instead focus on the racing. Jasko got a very good run. He's going to use the power of the V10. The same engine for both cars, but for some reason the Lamborghini's got more power in a straight line. You ask me, I don't understand that either. I guess it's Slightly Mad Studios BOP. Because both the Audi and the Lamborghini run the same 90-degree V10. So they should, in theory, have the same power, but it looked like the Lamborghini made short work of that Audi.
And I'm wondering, is that damage again for this man? Thomas having a bad race, and of course we are in our third hour by technicality of racing, fourth hour in game time. So it should be around
Dylan's
about
come in, by the way.
12. Yep, I did just say. And he's back out.
Did you? Oh, I can't. Fair enough then.
Smoking the rears up, and like real life, you won't get a penalty for that.
Yeah, you will not get a penalty for lighting up the tyres in this game. I don't know why it's such a... I don't know why it's penalised so heavily, but I guess it's for health and safety reasons, I suppose.
Yes, of course we don't want to see, of course, people revving the cars out and then they spin. And it's the last thing we want to see. Wolf back out in 10 positions behind Scold, actually. So Scold ahead of Wolf then. So doing an okay job right now. Remember, he was ahead earlier on as well. Didn't get caught out in the accident to start the race. Vectro, a little bit up the road from him as well. So a lot of action still to come in this race. But so far, Jazzman is waltzing on like Matilda. On for the lead of this race, and he's leading very much comfortably right now. From Papano by Raxa, 9 seconds off the pace. Then comes Gaza in fourth, a mile off behind of by Raxa there, so a huge gap between those guys. Big Kid Daddy, then comes Coco Pops in the Ferrari, then comes Jasko, Vectro, Scold, then comes Wolf, Leonardo in 11th position, then comes Tinus in 12th. Remember, he is the first of the top main guys who pitted. Camo in 13th, Jammy in 14th, Issa in 15th, and poor old De Thomas, who started on the pole. Looks like he's going to finish the season last. They never count anything, even. Don't count your chickens, we say, don't they?
Yes, very much. Just looking at the championship standings outside of the top 4. Vectro, who sits on 94 points in 9th place. If Jam, Dylan, Coco and Leonardo, just by some unfortunate reason, happen to disconnect, which I hope they don't, he could finish 5th in this race.
Very much indeed so far, but let's see, of course, Skull can jump up a few positions as well, I believe.
Yeah, he's in 15th from... he is on 55 points, and he could jump into the top 10 as well. But looking at the form of the drivers and the fact that none of them are giving up and they're lapping so closely to each other, it's going to be very difficult to jump up a lot of places. But Lewis, to be fair, I've slated him quite a bit this season. I wanted to rate him very highly because his performances in the Acura last season were very, very, very cool to see. He managed to get an underdog car into the top positions on multiple occasions, especially in the wet. Changed to the Audi, felt he could perform a little bit better, get a bit more competitiveness out of it. Hasn't followed through. He's had a lot of mishaps. Sonoma comes to mind, Algarve another one, but this race he's redeeming himself very much. Sure, he's not going to be in the top 3, I don't think, for the rest of the foreseeable future in this race, but like you said, never count your chickens. For all we know, those top three could have a monumental fiasco up there.
Yeah, of course they always can. Tinnis meanwhile closing up to Leonardo. Behind them, Camo closing up to Jam. So those guys all closing up on each other as well. So a few battles going on, but so far a little bit of a stagnant race.
Well, yeah, I mean, look how, like I said, the pace is nearly identical. I mean, Jazzman is the odd one out here by pace. And he's doing low 19s. Papano in the Audi still managing to lap in the high 19s. Gaza only just manages to scrape into a 19 there. Same with Jasko. A lot of them are lapping just in the 220s and low 21s. So it's going to be, the gaps are going to fluctuate, but they are only going to come down if someone makes a mistake or comes into the pits.
Yeah, very much indeed, Ethan, and that's the question, of course. These drivers, they had the Christmas period off, they had all their cooldown. I'm wondering is a few of them are maybe a little bit rusty as well. That's why we're seeing such big gaps.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, what was it? It was about 3 weeks, nearly 4 weeks we had a gap. So obviously we were off Christmas and then off New Year's. We all hope you had a bloody good Christmas and a happy New Year. But yeah, some of these drivers, Evil, they could be rusty.
Yeah, rusty, like an old spoon that's been in water for a couple of decades. As long as it's not stainless steel at least. But Leonardo, he's a man who's always impressed me this season. He's been doing an okay job. Right now, he's behind Tinus. Leonardo was ahead of Tinus, and last lap he made a mistake, because 24 can only be a mistake, because that is the second slowest lap time, third slowest lap time so far. ESS slightly quicker, and Thomas lapping at 2:24 as well, but he is definitely not having a good season so far. But look at Wolf, and you've got to wonder, Ethan, what a season it could have been.
Yeah.
Bad first 6 races of the season.
5 races.
5 races. Took those 2 spectacular wins, of course, both in Sakito and then in Germany, and what it's going down as the best race of the season.
Yeah, we did briefly mention, didn't we, what Dylan could have done. Obviously, compared to his last season, had he done what he's done this season, last season, he could have been championship winner potentially. And I think that's something he's realised, and I think that's something he's going to take into next season.
Yeah, of course. What is he scored? How many points he scored in the first 5 races was almost not even the half of that. I think only scored in the second half, hasn't he? Because he
was like 10th at some point.
Yeah, he's 10th in the standings, and now what is he?
5th, 6th, near 6th. Yeah, he could get 5th this season. So in the space of 5 races, he would have jumped up 5 positions as Coco comes in. Might be a bit of a lengthy pit stop this one, because he did have that damage, didn't he?
Yeah, well, we say that, and away he goes. Lafona, Erugo, and Piriguni drives that car, apologising for the mispronunciation of all of those names, because I can't speak foreign languages.
I think, if I can't read it, I think it's Pirigudi is one of them. Can't see the other 2. Yeah, I should know, because I go to Blogpan every so often, and I can't even remember the names.
Just ahead of Tinus, though. Tinus is going to be looking, I think, straight away up towards Rio Radion then. So let's see. Lamborghini bit sideways up the top of there. Now let's see. Gets a good exit down here, and he should really able to be making this Ferrari just bow down onto its knees. Bit of a flash of the lights there from Coco. I think he's saying, I'm not going to hold you up. So let's see. Comes up the inside. Is he going to hold him up too much? Nope. He's not going to do it then. So sportsmanship between Tinus and Coco. Coco knows, I think, within his heart, it's not the battle he's looking for. Remember, Coco, actually, really is with Tinus right now in this race as well.
Coco is with Leonardo in this race.
Here he's came in, and Tinus has came in as well. So
the and Coco and Leonardo are split by 13 points as well. Really going to be a tight battle for them. But
meanwhile, second and third closing up now. pace starting again, bit by bit right now. All in the 19s there for each of these drivers. Again, low.
Oh, dear. I hope that's not the start of something.
That isn't good. We don't know where he was at the time then. I didn't see too much of Camo then. But I think it was running around about...
I think it was about 12th, maybe?
12? I think they were about 12th position then. 12, 13. It was around that position there.
I'll be able to find out.
All in the background getting kicked up there, I'm just seeing. But, insane. So far, P14. Staying in this race, so it's to Thomas. Down the back. Doing what they need to do right now. Yep, 14th position. Back to in the pit lane for his scheduled stop. Left it long enough. He'll put in around about 50 odd litres to go to the end of this race on that 15 and 40. Remember, still got
ways to go yet.
Yeah, still got almost 25 laps, give or take, to go. Counting for a few dinks in the minor micrometer. As there you can see, passing Coco, Leonardo, and possibly the Jam as well. And he'll come out, Vetro shall come out in 13th position then after this. So he'll be down the back, but not too much of a problem there for him. He's still got a long race to go. He's got 25 laps, 24 laps, I believe, actually, if my calculations are more accurate. But a little way to go. Look at this battle though, Ethan. You've got Tinus, Coco, and Leonardo very close together. Although that isn't really the battle on the circuit right now. Not really any battles apart from this battle between Mr. Wolfie Boy and Mr. Scoldy Woldy. And these two have had some interesting races this season. They're good friends, of course, they're racers, but Scoldy just hasn't had the season beneath him. Just struggled so much, and whilst Wolf has struggled, Scold's had success, and whilst Scold has struggled catastrophically in the second part of this season, Wolf has just gone from strength to strength. So now them together, both done very little practice, of course. Well, of them done not as much practice, of course. And Scold, who was playing Gran Turismo up until about 40 minutes before the race, fair play to him, 7th position so far. So he's just chucking it in. Doesn't know if he's carrying on next season. Of course, we know Wolf is very much carrying on, Ethan. You'll be hoping to team with him yet again next season. Your return after your minor sabbatical in the commentary box next season, I believe.
Yeah, I will be returning alongside Dylan. We've been assessing, well, in VSR, obviously, because I'm one of the managers for the Project Cars team. We've been assessing Dylan's performance, and by himself, he's a very, very good driver. Now, we'd like to pair that up with obviously a driver alongside him, and certainly me, because we only have 2 drivers at the moment. We are looking to expand with Project Cars 3 when that eventually comes along. But yeah, me and Dylan will be going again in the Mercedes next season, going for at least a team championship, which we did in season 13. But one of us wants a championship, and well, obviously I'm quite rusty. I haven't driven in ages, but I'm going to say here now, I'm going to go all out, but that's for another time. For now, it's Lewis and Dylan who we focus on. As I believe Liam's having a drink, as Lewis goes very much off the track, forming a new part of the circuit, immediately goes defensive. Dylan's going to take every opportunity to do that.
Slips through and easy through now. Can he get the position? No, Scott's always one. He keeps around the outside here, and that's always going to be contact if they're not careful. They got away with it. Scott on the curbs, and I've almost seen that action before somewhere. But this just about works, and Wolfie went on the curbs there in the practice race yesterday and swung into the wall. Circo Fernando Alonso 2010, but not in the wet. So there's always potential there. Scott's going off onto the invisible route around the outside there. And I was looking at the chat, by the way. Yeah,
it seems Camo's had a bit of a
just internet went not lobby issue, so that is fortunate for us. 5 drivers with penalties, so we'll have a quick look at them. 1, 4, 1, 5 and 3. Of course, Camo, who was had that 10 second and is out. So one picking up penalties so far. Leonardo, meanwhile, still battling away with Mr. Coco. So those two battling away, the Lamborghini and the Ferrari lens. So the Ferrari with 13 laps to 23 laps to go. This is not a 30-lap race, it's 23 laps still to go of this 14-lap endurance sprint.
I just want to draw your attention, Evil, the top two. That is very close. Even though the gap is 8.5 seconds, the pace is... That's some good pace from Papano. I wonder which car's doing better on the tyres, yeah. Gazza is lapping faster than his teammate. That's crucial, but he's a long ways off. Jasko, yeah.
Jasko as well.
We've got Tinnis. Tinnis as well.
They're all in the same. They're all in the 19.3s. That is incredibly close pace. But you got to wonder, yeah, there are lap pace and times as Papano there. Don't want to be doing that
on a track.
Now I did that in the little bit of practice before even, and then I ended up going a bit into the wall, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. That's. I think he may feel comfortable in doing that. Perhaps he's trying to maximise his speed into Puon, but it only takes a bit too much of the grass, and that car is going off at about 140 miles an hour. So he doesn't want to take too much out of the grass and make his car the fastest lawnmower in the world.
Apart from the X2010.
Yeah.
Referencing for you there. But never mind the X2010, which is not a real car. These are real cars. And they're very beautiful real cars, even though most of them are now getting replaced by the Evo specs. The Audi, the likes of the Merc, pretty much all of the cars I think now got a replacement Evo spec.
They pretty much haven't they, yeah. Yeah, Lamborghini, I can go through all the ones I do. Lamborghini, Audi, Porsche, Bentley, Honda, Scuderia Glickenhaus.
Yeah, of course, Glickenhaus as well.
Yeah, obviously Glickenhaus the only race really at VLN and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Aston Martin, Nissan don't really have any GT3 cars anymore. I think they've withdrew their cars at the moment. But yeah, nearly Lexus I think I got a new one as well. But yeah, pretty much nearly every GT3 car has got a second generation or a quote-unquote Evo car, which I hope to see in Project Cars 3, because if those cars are in Project Cars 3, oh, it's going to be so good. I am a bit of a fanboy over the new generation of GT3 cars, to be honest. There's an 18.8. 18.8.
That man is on fire. Remember, I imagine he's going to come in around about lap 30, I believe. I think that's the exact point he's come in. Now,
yeah.
Be fair, actually, this is actually a good strategy, actually, from Jazzman. If you stretch it out longer, because you're relying on fuel, by technicality, you go faster, and then you can do it. This is what they used to do in the F1, I remember, back in the day, is they would stretch the laps until the end. You'd do an overcut strategy compared to the other drivers and try and out-fuel them, and you'd come out ahead afterwards, because you'd have the lower fuel to be able to do quicker later on. So that's exactly why they used to do it, and I think they do that in the likes of GT racing, or the endurance racing at least, don't they, Ethan?
Pretty sure, obviously, strategy is a big play in that. Obviously, tyre wear, driver. There's a whole bunch of factors that can contribute to what goes on in a race. It looks like Jazzman's got some pretty decent tyres still in his car. I think that's why he's able to push that little bit, but Big Daddy losing it on the exit of Puon, and that's given Jasko some opportunities there into the Fania chicane, but not come to fruition just there. The Big Daddy not getting the best line through Fania. What about Stavolo? He's on the right piece of track. Very good exit there from Big Daddy. Jasko just a little bit later on the apex. As Jazzman still sets a consecutive 18, so it looks like Jazzman's pushing it a little bit, so I expect to see him in a couple laps time anyway between now and lap 30, I reckon. So if your predictions are correct, and that's a good mark there.
Yeah, he started first.
57.
Of course, 255 kilometers an hour on the brakes comes the Lamborghini. So down for its marks, of course. Very difficult braking zone down into the bus stop. Not as it used to be, the bus stop used to be far more dangerous, of course. It used to be a flat right-hander into what was a left-right chicane, and now it's of course a right-left chicane. Of course, you need to go straight on into the pit lane back in those days, and of course that's why they changed it, because if you're coming in the pit lane, it's almost if you remember Canada, of course, real life has that kind of very dangerous chicane where you come in basically on the racing line.
It's kind of same with the Sao Paulo as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Sao Paulo, you come in very quickly, and of course. Those types of circuits where you're on the straight, Jasco, a bit of wiggle on the top of our roads there, and gets away with it. Meanwhile, only the battle going on is Leonardo stuck a little bit behind Coco in that very smexy Ferrari, I must say. The very bright yellow, Kung Fu-esque livery, I might say. Almost looks like a...
Kind of like a Chinese livery, would you say?
Yes. Chinese kind of... looks like it comes out of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
If it was black, it was the blackest of the blue, I'd say it was Mortal Kombat, wouldn't you?
I kind of like the... Oh, he touched the curb, he's gone! Oh, he's on!
He lost it, keep it out the wall, he does!
What a save! Oh, never mind. Well, kind of.
Well, still caught
kind of, don't return to the... Oh, gosh.
Everything's fine. And there goes Jam. And...
He touched the curb, that is exactly what you do not want to do up there. He managed to keep it out the wall.
Almost like Mortal Kombat for now. I said that could have been a finishing move, but luckily it wasn't the finishing move there, and I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look it up there and see what actual livery that is and what it's designed.
They do use it. It is used somewhere. I don't think it was a car in the Blancpain G series, but I think it still runs. I'm not too sure. I prefer the what livery is it? The number 55, the Casper Sky livery, the green and white and red one. It's got the green flakes and all that all over it. I kind of like that one. Oh, top two, just both in the 18s. That Audi is fast.
Well, it shows to everyone right now, and Scott said it earlier on. He was saying pace comes around the top guys as well. So
it's fluctuating,
the Audi is quick today.
It's very good to see.
Capano, who's always a man who can bring the best out of it. Maybe it's the new year. This could bring new life to the Audi, because it was nowhere before. Jasco decided to come in the pit lane in the MP Motorsport car then, so they're very much block-based car, which looks like camo livery, doesn't it? A little bit like the Red Bull.
Kind of, yeah.
You get the little kind of blocky patterns, always a pretty livery, and of course your most popular livery, from the one you always seem to run in everything.
Oh, we're changing livery next season anyway.
You're changing,
we're getting a new lick of paint, yeah. We're planning to return to some old roots.
Is it going to be that blue livery?
It's not quite that livery. It's a livery that I used before I joined AOR.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to try and guess that then. So I might have a clue. Have I seen it before?
You have seen it before, yeah.
Ooh, that would be a nice touch back.
You'll find out next season at round 1 when it eventually gets started.
Indeed, we're talking about that camo livery that Red Bull ran. Though I do say about the camo livery, but this is to Thomas.
This is kind of another one,
yeah. The camo livery, pretty much, because it is very much the blocky livery of stuff. If he's driving the front back car with the weird happy triangle face on it, it is a face actually. There is a face on the side of the car. I literally only noticed that just then. There is a face.
Need to get it's around here. We'll get a chance to see it. He does set a pretty decent lap, to be fair to him.
Yeah, you can see a little face
there. It is. Speaking of this car, I think next season we might see a few more of them and be a bit more competitive, because obviously we're going to get a few of those smaller, tighter tracks like Alton Park, perhaps, and Ruapuna. So we might see some underdogs like the Ginetta, maybe, if someone's a bit got some, as what James would say, James Hunt, big balls.
Quotation mark.
Quotation mark, yes.
Talking about liveries, of course, you can't talk about any liveries about this one. The one that has won the last 2 championships in a row. It won last season, of course, racing with the man you're seeing here, Gaza. And it won the season before, although not the exact same livery. It was
the yellow one.
It was the yellow and black livery, but it was the exact same team car, of course. That was Infect's car. This one, of course, it was ESR, ESR, I think it was ESR,
Schmidt, yeah.
Good old Schmidt there, a good old friend of mine. Used to know him from a long time ago, a couple of years, because he's moved over to PC.
I don't want to cut over you, Evil. I don't know if have you just seen the time at the top?
Yeah.
What's this? Has he picked up a penalty, maybe?
20.9.
Oh, he's picked up a few penalties.
Yeah, 3 seconds. So, picking up a few. It's Bahano. 10 seconds on the pace. Isn't they're doing too badly. Byraxer down there in P3. Gaza, really lonely in P4 right now. I imagine he's going to have very few words to say when we speak to him later on. And Big Kid Daddy down there in P5. Wolf so far lonely in P6 as well. Then we got Scold getting caught bit by bit by Tinner. Scold don't want to be doing that. And I like some of our drivers, and he somehow gets away with it this time as well. And that's going to be very much getting through by the Lamborghini. I imagine that Lamborghini should just dive up the inside. Scold a little bit moving there, moves one way back to the other, back to the racing line. I don't think he's made the corner though, I don't think, has he?
No, he's made the corner. I mean, when he moved towards that wall, had he hit that, Tinnis would have had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it'd be either he'd gone under him, or it can happen, or over him.
That would have been
or through him.
Bad crash, that would have been very, very bad.
Skull, somehow, luckily caught it. No incident yet there at Skull. He's looking to be in the top 7. He's behind Wolf so far. He's pitted, of course.
Also some decent pace.
Big Daddy, I believe, yet to pit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Big Kid Daddy, Big Kid Daddy, Gaza, Byraxer, Parno, and Jazzman will get to pit.
Yeah, so
in the top 5.
Dylan's over a minute behind. I guess that's down to reverse grid, because obviously Jazzman by the end of lap 1 was already into the top 2, and then obviously Dylan's had to battle a few people and also pit, but obviously Jazzman's left it out late. But like you said, he's stretched it out so far. The overcut might just work and he'd still come out in P1 maybe.
Yeah, remember they have a lap time though. It's like 119 dead.
Good consistency.
Consistency and the exact on the mark. Skull, meanwhile, I don't think he's going to keep absence for 2 months longer. I think Tinnis is going to have a pretty easy move on the Audi. Though the Audi should be able to cover the brakes. Let's see. As long as he doesn't brake too late. Skull doesn't like this corner very much. He normally goes too deep, though he somehow managed to lose the rear end.
He clobbered the inside sausage curve that time around.
Yep, Skull clobbering sausages. His favourite pastime there, hitting those sausages. Nice and firm there. He likes. They're making sure they're nice.
Dylan, fastest man on track last time around, 218.9. Turning it up, isn't he? Just gotta hope Big Kid Daddy gets out of the way before he catches up to him.
Big Kid Daddy is what?
15 seconds.
The com. Down towards the com there he is actually. Will Skull getting bent on the curb. He's pushing that curb a bit too aggressive there and it's costing him. And look at the exit he got though out of the source. He pulls away from the Lamborghini. That's a very good pace for him indeed. Behind him Leonardo, then Jasco, and we've got to look at Jam as well. He's so far coming back through a little bit. He's catching up to Jasco a little bit. 119, 120, so he's not gaining, he's losing. But it looks like he's gaining. We hit everyone 19-0, 19-2, 19-2, 19-0, 25, 18-9, 21, 19-9, 26, 19-0, a 20.0, a 20.1, a 22-2, a 22-2, and Thomas who sets a 28-4. Which to me sounds like he's had a bad accident or has gone off and spun somewhere, but Thomas, you feel sorry for the man. He's made a bad season. I don't know, it just seems the Audi Ethan, he's just not agreed with him. He hasn't really agreed this entire season, has he?
No, he's not really he just hasn't had much luck, has he? I just don't think he's had an opportunity to get to grips with the Audi, learn about it, you know, see what the car's about. Whereas Papano, you can see he's doing the polar opposite and he's running in the top 2. This is the first time we've seen the Audi in the top 2 for ages. I think the last time we've seen an Audi in the podium was the very first race of the season as well. Yeah. And Watkins Glen, he nearly snatched P2 from Tinnis, who ran out of fuel on the line.
Well, I remember that. That's the assess, by the way. Seeing there, he's getting caught up, and that actually means De Thomas is almost 2 laps down now. Actually, on the leaders. He's on that 22. The leaders are on that 24, so that is gone. I don't know what's happened to him then. So something's gone even wronger than wrong then. You know, Tinnis still closing up the Skull, so the battle's still not over for. Oh, hello, boys. for P number 8. And if you want to know why my voice hurts, by the way, if you just joined this, I had a cold, been out, not been nice, but I'm here, I'm alive. Only missed one race this season because I disconnected, and everything's fine. So on for a full house this season, if you finally, I suppose, aren't we? I'll say, because I believe we've just gone temporarily. But Scald under pressure still from Tinnis, who's always looking for an overtaking opportunity. He needs to try and get past. Now he has to look on the inside down on the brakes. And he's not going to do it there, my friend, because Scald has got the outside line covered like a brick wall does for a house, I hope. And there is no way you're going to come through there, sunshine. Scald goes and... Of course, Tinner's a little bit brave. He doesn't want to be throwing the car too much into driver's rear ends because he doesn't really want to get damaged, and he's stuck there in 8th. He needs really right now. He's almost this kind of stuck behind another car. He just cannot get past Skull, and this has really cost him any chance of him winning the championship.
Yeah, Tinner's very much stuck in a bad position. I hope you can hear me. I had a slight mic malfunction there for a brief moment. Yeah, Tinner's opportunity to win the championship looks like it's sliding away because we're past the halfway point now. That's Essa getting out of the way, out of the exit of the bus stop. Dylan lapping very consistently there, only 24 thousandths of a second down on that lap. See, what we got to contend with though, Evil, is the fact that these guys up front, like, some of them have got penalties, some haven't.
Oh, Skull, that was a big mistake there, and there goes Tinners around the outside. And Scold, who normally mocks me of saying go on that curb, is just going on that curb and always spun.
Oh yeah, not meant to touch it. Not meant to touch that.
There, and one small mistake, and you know what he can do. It's a curb in real life. You touch, you lose a lot of momentum. I remember very, very vividly in my memory seeing Mika Hakkinen spin down there in the early 2000s. I think it was 2000 before he did that ungodly overtake, which really wasn't that good of an overtake, really, in the grand schemes of things, around the outside of a car of Zonta, old Michael Schumacher, of course. But in F1 terms, that is a good overtake. In terms of this low, what a good overtake is going 3 wide uphill routes and coming out in the lead of that battle. That is a good overtake. Or going 4 wide down the Camel Straight, though I will let F1 give that away. Saying that, Larry Fern, you've got to say, what's this season, what has been the best moment so far, you reckon, in terms of overtakes?
Oh, I was trying to remember half of it. I can't really remember back that far. So I got the memory of a goldfish. Oh, snap. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, well, I'd say in terms of the opposite, though, the crash of the season, there's
crash of the season.
Crash of the season, in my opinion.
I don't even remember a crash of the season.
One that definitely surprised me. It's a small crash, but really just surprised me was when Vettel, of course, went off spectacularly at Hockenheim through the last corner. It was such a small off, but it just looks so spectacular from the view. If you're going down from turn 1 down towards the last corner, it was just one of the accidents you don't see really this season, though. Compared to previous seasons where you've seen certain drivers flip spectacularly at the Nürburgring and other wild incidents, not naming names, but you can see them. But moving on from that, there's relatively been fortunately a calm season in terms of accidents.
Yeah, this season, the season's had a bit of everything, hasn't it? It's had a bit of drama, it's had a bit of fabulous moves, and it's had everything. Exactly, yes. Big Kid Daddy comes into the pit lane just on time because Dylan was slowly catching up to him.
Yeah, that's a good point for him to come in there, and he'll should come out if my calculations are correct. The short stop, I believe, around
ahead of Lewis. Maybe ahead of Lewis.
Yeah, I reckon ahead of Lewis.
You can hear him coming by now.
Yeah, if he comes out now, he should come out ahead of. Maybe not. Never mind. It's going wrong. Is he putting too much fuel then?
Or is
that too much fuel?
Tyres or repairs? There, now he's going.
He's going. A long stop, and that's coming.
Even Leonardo. Coco might have him.
Yeah, we'll come up behind all these guys as well.
Jam as well.
Yeah, Jam as well, so let's see. He's coming down to the exit now, so he might just get the exit, but you know, Jam's ahead, so you'll just see in the background the there it is. And he is ahead just about, but not
there he's
for long,
behind.
because now he's ahead. Now he is behind, so did work and didn't come out like a Mark Webber situation, so that really was a long stop. And he put too much fuel in there, didn't he? That's too much fuel.
I think he may have put too much fuel in, yeah.
Let's have a look at Scold's got 55, maybe not. Just go 5, 60. No, I think he's on point, so that brings me to question then. Is Jam's got to come in?
Potentially. Oh wow, Big Kid Daddy already sizing competition up immediately after pitting. Looking at the top guys, the top 4, they're looking pretty comfortable so far. I'm looking at the guys behind him, the entire top 6 are all in the 19s.
19-1, 19-3, 19-1, 19-3, 19-4, 19-0.
Kind of been the case with these drivers, hasn't it? Like it's been the same names and the same guys always managing to pull off some spectacular races and laps.
Well, like Wolf said, it's like the top 6 and then it's the B group really, and then you get that 1 or 2 drivers that's a surprise. And right now, Papano, shock so far in this race, P2 in the Audi, and I didn't see that
how much longer?
Coming. Yes, for how much longer? Well, right now I think it's going to go a little bit longer. Meanwhile, Big Daddy got back ahead of Jam, by the way. So Jam didn't last too much ahead of the driver who was wiggling and wiggling his way up the road a little bit wide there. You can see the gravel getting kicked up there. Very circuit that still remains its old school characteristics. We've still got gravel, and not many circuits in the world really have gravel around them anymore. Most of them, well, look like this, with a bit of tarmac on the outside.
And a bit of paint on them as well.
It's a bit of paint like Paul Ricard or Sochi or
Abu
Dhabi,
right.
or any other circuit that has paint on them. Prefer it down in the comment section that has those weird abrasive paints on. But
Big Kid Daddy's gone upwards.
Too deep. Yeah, he went far too deep, and there he is. And unlike a certain British driver in 2008, does not try and re-overtake the car head. And Thomas is out the race, by the way. I just noticed that one.
Condolences, Thomas, fought on, but I mean, to be fair to him, he was down a bit, so save some time, enjoy the rest of the race.
Yeah, enjoy some popcorn, some ice cream if you're into ice cream at this time of year, or popcorn and ice cream actually, maybe. That'd be nice. Let's see that. Kid Daddy, 12th position so far in this race. Now behind Jam again in the Audi, and behind
Big Kid Daddy's just gone onto the grass.
Is that a wheel issue?
Oh my gosh, gosh. Something's wrong with that.
That looks like a wheel issue.
Okay. Anyway, in other dramatic news, Scott, 808, has done a low 219. He's done a 219.3 to be exact.
So that means the top 7 are now all in the 219s. Apart from the top 2, it's the 280s.
Where has this pace come from, Lewis? Because he's been... I'm going to be honest here, he's been pretty much nowhere this season, and I'm sure people can back me up, and I'm not saying that to be mean to him, I'm just being factual. He hasn't had a brilliant season, and then all of a sudden he's just redeemed himself.
Well, I mean, a fastest lap is one thing, even, but then again, you got to look at it. Can he set it consistently?
Yes.
To not damper your hope for Lewis. Let's see what he can do. Well, he's always a man who well, I mean, we always do try and curse him, don't we, accidentally, and then he goes wide. And let's see, does he? I see, 220. I see. Well, 219.0 for Tinners. 220. There we go. So was it? Wasn't that one up? Ooh, the rear end spinning out a little bit there. And just be careful, doesn't want to spin the car too much. Meanwhile, Jazzman leads this race, and he should be coming in within the next 2 laps. That's Vectro you'll have ahead of him. So if I was Jazzman now, I'd come in now.
Yeah. Well, looking at his fuel, yeah, he's near that point. We're also getting to the point, Evil, where it's starting to get cooler now. We're going into the evening. Shadows are going to be getting longer. The bus stop is pretty much going to be... it's going to be carpeted shadows. Yeah, I mean, it looks bright for us, but for the drivers, it's really, really dark and difficult to pick out the braking zone.
Coming in? He is.
He does come in.
There we go. Heeds my warning.
Pano, what does he do?
Well,
And Boyraxa and Gaza.
Now, if I was with Pano and Boyraxa, you have a choice now. You either go longer and try and undercut him, which can work, because now you have less fuel. You can try, the overcut, technically, which they're both trying to do then. So, let's see then how much pace they can get. Let's see how much time Jazzman will lose.
2:19.2.
Let's see. Jazzman should come out, he'll come out ahead of Wolf. Should come out ahead of Gaza. No, he'll come out just behind Gaza, actually. He'll come out in front of Cesslo. That'll be the car nearest to him. So, that's where he'll
all the way
out.
at Stavilo, then?
Yeah, he's all the way down at Stavilo, coming up towards Longton. That's how far off they are. So, it's very much a 4-horse race between the top 4 drivers. And now we're wondering, what pace has Jazzman now truly got with 50 litres in the tank? Which I think is a little bit too much, maybe, though I'm not sure. 10 laps, Ethan, how much do you reckon in 10 laps they'll use out of that?
Personally, I'm not too sure.
You look it down, we've got Skull 45, 46, so they must all
Personally,
be
I don't think you need that much fuel. I think Jam might have maybe just a bit too less, but I think 25/30 is enough for 10 laps.
Vettel down there in 13th position, and the man who was not too far off F1 right now. I don't know what's happened to him recently, but his pace has dropped off 222s. Vicky Daddy 225 last lap, and he seems to maybe we'll have a look this lap, see if his pace rehabilitates itself a little bit, hopefully. But Jam is close enough to cope a little bit there. 119.7. 123 to 119.8. So Jam's got a good pace in the Audi as well. So the Audis are relatively quick today.
They are very quick, yeah. On low fuel at least. But it's going to be crucial what these guys do. Do they stay up for another lap or do they carry on?
Well, the key thing is, we'll keep an eye on it. Is Jazzman closing up to Gaza? Or is Gaza pulling away?
Have a look. Catch him a little bit. Also, Gaza's going to be coming up to a braking zone. No, he's not. Gaza's literally on a straight right now. I'm looking at the wrong dot on the map.
There he is.
He's pulled away from Jazzman a little bit. He's going to close up here because they're into a braking zone. The top 2 do not come in.
Jazzman's lights that.
Yeah.
Probably saying hello to us, and we say hello back to Mr. Jazzman, of course. And down we've got Wolf there. We'll have a look at the penalties meanwhile and see what deluge of penalties. Who's got the biggest penalties? Vectro,
Lewis. Vectro.
Lewis and Vectro. The penalty masters this season. I'm pretty certain they've scored the most penalties this season. I mean, Skull scored, 56 seconds in one of the races?
Yeah, I think it was Sakito. Quite a strict track.
That's comes in. ESS comes in. Is that damage? I'm wondering. Well, it kind of has to be damage.
Can't see. Doesn't look like it.
Very odd. Maybe you need some tyres then, but very strange one indeed. Let's see if it's a long stop. Unless he's got some, unless he got side impact or something, it's a long stop. So, looks like got damage somewhere where he didn't see it. Unfortunately, that can happen. Gaza, 3rd position right now. Boyraxa is 2nd.
Oh,
And that was a lag spike
from the potential championship winner. Oh no.
Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
No, please, no.
No, you can't do this. Now he's on course. He's got 10 laps to go. Is he got trouble? Is there trouble for your championship leader? The man who's looking for it. There is lag going on. Vicky Daddy's in the pit lane, and I'm wondering...
no! No,
he's got...
Austin Powers.
Can he get it going? Yes, he can.
Because the championship guys are coming in a sec. Oh, okay, no, never mind. But still, had he been further up in the pit lane stuck, that would have been it. That.
You know, gone through him, luckily, though.
Oh, good job, good job. Big Kid Daddy's not in the way anymore.
Yeah, they should have gone through him in theory there. I imagine you'd have
You'd like to think that.
You would like to think that. However, in previous experience of thinking when you ghost...
Right, this is a crucial part now. Jasmine, Gaza comes in. These guys are doing well, not a double stack there. Wow, okay, well, Jasmine, is he close enough to win the championship is the question.
Ooh, wow, that's always a difficult question. I don't think he's close enough in terms of thinking. As far as I know, he should be driven up 30 points, but I don't think he's close enough even to win it where these guys are.
Papano now, so if...
Papano leading in the Audi. First time we've seen that for a while, eh? Audi leading outright.
But Jasmine should catch him, though.
And 21 seconds, of course. We're looking down the Boyraxa with that max spike he just had. Leonardo out.
Oh, dear.
And now, let's hope
this is not the start.
This isn't the start of the second great plague of disconnections we've had this season. But
we haven't had a single mass disconnection this season. So far.
Let's hope it doesn't start now, because we don't want to start where the season ends. Meanwhile, Jasco behind Skull in the Audi, Lamborghini in the Jasco. Or, well, Jasco in the Lamborghini. I hope you could start it with the other way around, because that would be very much unhumane. But, let's see what they can do. Down they come towards Radion and El Rouge, or El Rouge and Radion, I might say. And Jasco, a man who's been doing so far so good this season, who goes about 400 miles wide up Radion and tries to take the old exit pit lane there for good measure. Skull very much on the inside there, I'm wondering why he's doing that. Doesn't need to be that defensive though, does he?
Not really, no, but I guess he just wants to break the toe. He's probably aware of how much slower the Audi is on the straight. Just looking at the pace. Dylan's not that far behind Gaza.
Dylan, yeah, he isn't, is there? There he is, and there's Tinnis as well, who's closing up. Tinnis, who's really just been a man out of time right now, hasn't he? He's just not had any luck right now this race. He was so far, was he for the championship? He was P3 in the championship, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's down there in 6th. I think this is the worst result he's had for a long, long time.
Yes, he's had the worst result he's had is 5th.
But this is going to be potentially the worst result. But don't take the chickens, because there might still be controversy and drama, because I saw Boyraxa lagging, we all saw it, and then Leonardo disconnected out of reality, and you don't want to hold your breath, Ethan, but you just got to hope, for the love of God, something doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, speaking of Leonardo, Vectro's going to jump up into 8th now, because Leonardo's not going to score any points.
Indeed, that's unfortunate there. Jasco's continuing to close up on Skull here, as he comes down, the night time starting to settle in, or the darkness is settling, and I think, is that going to launch one up the inside, you reckon?
Nah, I think that'd be a bit of a silly mistake, because it seems Lewis is struggling to get his car slowed down for that corner. So I think Jasco can just bide his time at the moment. It seems he's got time and pressure on his side. You can see he puts his car over to the right hand side as Lewis. You can see the rear end under braking, very loose. I think Jasco knows this, so that's why he's just biding his time and waiting.
Let's find out, of course. Up they come up Rouge again for the 32nd time of the 40 laps they've still to go. 40 of laps they have to complete. They're on the 32nd of that so far. As I get every word in the vocabulary of my mind mixed up in reverse order. Maybe I'm just ill a little bit. But I mean, well, Skulled, fair play to him. He's not dropping too much time. 19-1 to a 20.1 in 5.10. So he's not dropping too much pace. However, I'm wondering
Papano's
if
in, by the way.
Papano is in the pits, actually. As I was about to mention, is Papano in? Well, he is now. As these two continue to battle on. The really only
Oh,
battle
Lewis
going
touches the curb. Oh, he saved it.
saved it, but that is going to cost him. We will
right,
now
is Jasko going to send it now? He's thinking. He's thinking. Oh, he backs off.
No, you can't do it. Skull's too wide, though.
It's a wise choice.
Skull dead. Just almost thought for a second that could have been contact down towards the corner there. Skull just a wily old fox, losing the rear end to slow Jasko down, I think.
Wouldn't have helped the tyres, though. This is like I said, Evil. The conditions, the track temperature's getting cooler, the cars are going to struggle for a bit more grip because of the cooler conditions. The tyres are going to get colder, obviously, as they go down the straights. So it's just going to be who can maintain the temperatures a bit better. Lewis doing it the wrong way round by wearing out the tyres.
The corner comes out 8 seconds there, so it kind of actually gained 2 seconds on Jasmine, actually, so it did work, actually, didn't it?
It did kind of, yeah, but oh gosh, Lewis very much off the track.
Now must be careful down towards the bus stop. He doesn't end up getting a rear end. He's swerving away. He's over sharp. He'll get away with it. He'll cover the inside line, but doesn't really batten those curbs too much. So he'll force him out wide. And that looks like there's an issue because he is suddenly driving very strangely. I'm wondering, is there something going on there? Tyres maybe, but around the outside comes and oof, what is going on there? Scold is
where?
Not very aware right now of his surroundings and just about gets away with it. And I'm wondering if he's being distracted, of course. Remember last race he got distracted by his mother. So let's hope that's not happening here in a battle because that will be very inopportune. Up there Rouge they come. And let's see if Jasko close enough this time to have a look. He was about 3/10 of a second, so he's a little bit too far back still. He's defensive. He's just trying to break the toe.
But then again, that car is holding its own. He is like, I'm pretty sure he's running a setup from the Nürburgring and adapted it for this circuit, but I'm pretty sure he's using about 0 and 2 downforce. Yeah. I mean, it works a dream, it seems to him, but I don't know where his head's at the moment.
He's struggling, the rear end doesn't look stable. Just looks like he's struggling, bit here, a bit there, and he runs wide now. Well, whilst this battle goes on, Ethan, I suppose we can give a little shout out, by the way. If you don't know, by the way, to the there is a little Christmas thing going on. It's not Christmas, we know, but they are hosting a little event. Though I might say try battling that, and maybe not try and promote whilst racing's going on. But let's see. There is a back up a little bit, yeah. But they've got a little social event on the
24th of January.
Of January, 1 month after Christmas, and it's the little Christmas treat we get. We get to drive 3 cars. 2 of them I love a lot. 1 of them I'm driving occasionally, and that's it. It's the Ferrari P4 from 1967. It is the beautiful 333 SP, which is basically I love seeing that thing, and it's on my bedroom wall. And the Ferrari GT3 as well, of course. Driving around.
GTE. They're using the GTE.
GTE car, my apology, as well. So look at that coming up in the next couple of days. Of course, we follow Apex on Twitter, Apex on Racing on Twitter, not Apex on Twitter on Racing, as well, and you'll be able to get all the links for that as well.
I'll get the details as well since we have an opportunity.
Yes, let's promote Mo whilst Jasko and Skull battle away in the end of this race with 6 laps to go. As
there's a lag spike.
The pits, that's jamming.
Yeah. It's not nice to see.
Vectro is in 11th position. He's ahead of Vicky Daddy, who's really just dropped off face of the earth. And that's the car ahead of him. That'll be Tinus, by the way, if you're wondering who is ahead of him. The yellow 93 catching up to VSR Wolf a little bit by a little bit. Now those two now separated by 2 seconds. And I played to Wolf. He is losing up a little bit on Gaza, but it's not really going to be enough.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to Sakito, where Dylan was being caught by Gaza, but it was in the dying stages and it just wasn't enough. I have the details for the AOR Winter Champion 2020. It's a Ferrari special, so obviously 3 Ferraris being used, like you said, the 330 P4, the 333 SP, and the Ferrari 488 GTE. If you guys are interested in participating in this event, the sign-ups are currently open, and it takes place on the 24th of January at 8 PM. To participate, you gotta put in a time trial with the Ferrari something car at Monza. That thing, yes, at the Ferrari 365 GTB4 at Monza Short using a default setup. And if you guys are wondering who's participating, a bunch of our GT3 drivers are participating, such as Dylan, Lewis, Evil is participating, Tinnis and Jasmine are. So if you guys are interested in participating and getting into some racing with some one spec default cars, definitely look at signing up for that event.
Indeed, someone very slow in the pit lane, by the way. It's called grass hopping there. I was just noticing, was that someone off at the last corner? I'm not sure who that was. Was that ESS? No, it wasn't. Someone was getting lapped there very slowly. Everyone's making Daddy very slow through the last corner there. As Jasco continues hunting down Mr. Skull. You can see, by the way, we mentioned how it was getting dark, and now it's almost going to finish
almost pitch black.
Yeah, one more almost pitch black. I think we'll have another 2 out. Yeah, maybe you might be right. Just about. It'll be very dark. As Skull, you can see the lights starting to illuminate on the circuit. This is where it always gets so pretty from around this circuit. Exactly. Especially in these times of day. You just get that beautiful view up El Rouge and Radion. Especially, unfortunately, I don't believe those lights are on in that building. But when they are, it makes
beautiful,
such a spectacular view when you're going down there up, seeing those lights on. Exactly,
and that's why the Spa 24 is definitely a bucket list for the racing enthusiast. Because the atmosphere outside the track, that's something what I think a racing game should really capture. Because if you're able to capture the sounds of the car and all that, if you're able to capture the atmosphere outside the circuits, like fans, fireworks in the background, Ferris wheels, all of that type of stuff, I think that really immerses you. And I think that's something this game's missed on, the atmosphere around the track. So I think that's something Codemasters and Slightman Studios can work on. Put that on the drawing board, please, guys, because the car sounds are good, the cars run well. We just need the atmosphere outside the track. It's a bit bland, so get to work on the atmosphere outside of it.
Yes, and of course, one thing, of course, you miss out on all that is the almighty. I can't remember what it's called. So either I pronounce a missile name or the weird thing that makes that really loud noise you normally do.
I know. Oh, you're thinking of the gearbox compressor. No, it's for the pit stops or inside the car.
No, the ones the spectators use.
Oh, those things.
Yes, those things. The things that everyone hates. I love them.
Well, we need, just a bit more sound. So obviously, the gearbox.
Want it.
Yeah, because a lot of the GT3 cars, they have a compressor that makes a noise when the gears are being used. And all of that. And also the pits, obviously, when cars come into the pit lane, there's usually a whistle or a klaxon that goes off. We just need a bit more of that real life aspect in there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, a klaxon. The almighty thing that they normally use. I almost wanted to say a Panzerfaust, but that is not. That is not we don't want to be using that here.
Yeah.
That would be very bad. Anyway, that's a bit too close. Well, that almost was up the rear bumper of Skull, and Skull likes things going up his rear bumper, but I don't imagine he wants that going up his rear bumper at this particular time. Maybe later, but so far is not the time for this right now. And well, really only 2 battles going on the circuit, and it's this and
always wide and is lifted off.
Now we have slow down penalty, and this will be surely the overtake.
Oh my goodness!
And nearly ended up being an undertake. And through, is he? He is through. Is he going to survive though? He is. And Jasco now disposes of Lewis just about. Or does he?
Oh, there's contact.
And there is a bit of contact this time around. And Skull, and we do have a battle going on. Tennis is caught up 12th.
Has Tennis, has Gaza dropped, has Dylan dropped from Gaza is the question. Not really.
No. But Tennis is caught up, so everyone's closing. Skull is now battling away, because you can see the night time's coming in. He's getting this
hang on, gap up front. It's just dropped. Oh, never mind, they're at the bus stop, it always does that. Never mind, I thought Jazzman may have had an issue there, but he didn't.
No, 99. Let's see, what is the lap time for Parpano? It is going to be he's very much over the left side there. I don't know what he's doing all the way on the left. It's 17.7. 17.7 and 19.7. I'm really concerned it was a 17.7. Let's see what Spy Rats are doing. He's setting a 19.21. And then we wait for Gaza, then we got Wolf, then we've got Tintin, and then we got Scold and Jasko. And there's someone, Ethan. I'm not sure if you can see it, but someone's not moving down there. As you can see the light source of an empty car.
Oh, it's probably where someone's disconnected.
Yeah, so where someone disconnected there, and I'm spotting it. Notices it's got darker. Wolf there, rear end stepping out, and there's a trend here in the night. I mean, look at see now, just that beautiful view.
Yeah, it's very nice.
The pink sky, the dark blue haze above it, and then the blackness of the forever world. Now you can see the lights are on, of course. When if it gets even darker than that, it turns into a beautiful view.
Could you imagine that at Christmas?
Imagine that at Christmas, what, in the winter, where it's snowing, going up there. In fact, you can drive on this circuit in the snow. I don't recommend driving it in a road car, and don't drive on the historic version in the road car, because you will not get up El Rouge.
Well, they've already driven in the snow here, haven't they? I do remember WEC had a bit of snow, had a bit of rain, had a bit of sunshine, had nearly everything. Goes back to what you said, it has its own little weather system here.
It's like Britain some days. Britain doesn't really have weather systems. It can just rain or sunshine or just rain. Really, that's just what I'm saying. It doesn't snow anymore here. Snow doesn't exist. It exists in warmer climates.
Well, the battle for 5th place in the dying stages of the race. We're on lap 37. This race has flown by in the past couple of laps.
It always does, of course. And remember, it's almost a 1 hour and 30-minute race, which is, in your opinion, you think that's endurance? Yeah, or when do you start the endurance as kind of thing?
I'd say endurance is anything over 2 hours. So, obviously, Endurance League.
Yes,
that was.
He's coming back.
I hope it comes back.
I hope it comes
depends
back.
What day it depends what day it is, I think.
Yeah. That
but yeah,
very good.
Obviously, because we do get a lot of feedback from the drivers. So obviously, some people do want shorter races, some people want the longer races. Me being a die-hard endurance fan, I would like some events like this at Spa or the Nürburgring combined to be 2.4-hour races. So obviously it replicates that 2.4-hour, the 24-hour race with a full day-night cycle and all that. I'd quite like to see that, but end of the day, the coordinators can do what they like. If they want to listen to our feedback, then maybe next season do a 2.4-hour race somewhere. Kota, maybe. Kota has a 24-hour race, or Dubai. I know Dubai is not up on people's lists. I'm in a minority, but yeah.
Penalty there for Jasmine, by the way, just noticed there. He had a slowdown penalty there, because he lifted off there. Still only 3 seconds.
Yeah. Pano, unless Jasmine spins out, Pano at best is going to get seconds, which is not bad in the Audi. If anything, that's a bloody. I keep saying that word. That's a naughty that. He's done a fabulous job.
Yes, let's not use the word that comes out of that again.
Apologies.
Apologies to all the viewers and everyone there for that vulgar language there by my co-commentator. I will have to discipline him later on. Anyway,
Gasco's got by Lewis.
Yes, well done. You got past him a while ago.
Unless they overtook each other, I'm not too sure. Pretty sure that gap would have gotten bigger, surely.
I think they've just been around each other there, so they've really overtaken her behind each other there earlier on. Meanwhile, Tinnis is still continuing to hound in the justices. Look at that flame come out, Wolf.
Hang on. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I thought Boy Rax had disconnected because I was looking for Boy in the top 3 and then I didn't see it. And then it was there. Sorry. Scared for a moment then.
Well, let's not curse it, Ethan. We've still got 2 laps to go. And we know what normally happens when we say Boyraxer isn't going to disconnect. He disconnects. So let's hope it doesn't happen, right? So, Wolf in P5. Tinus in P6 right now. Then we've got Jasko and Skull battling away there in P7 and 8. If you're wondering why Skull's got yellow lights, it's because he's the... Oh!
Who's that?
Bicky Daddy?
It's Bicky Daddy.
Yeah, Bicky Daddy. I would have thought that was Jasko then for a second. That is the endurance version of the car, which is, in real life, got a big fuel tank, I believe, doesn't it?
Yes.
In this game, it does not.
It sounds like Vicky Daddy's come to a halt.
in the group. Nope.
He's carrying on.
He's
He had a few issues this race, didn't he? Because he came off the camel straight, didn't he, at some speed?
And then
so
went
I'm wondering
Russell.
if he's having some technical issues again.
Yeah, always a possibility, but meanwhile, we'll lead up on the 39th for 40th lap, the penultimate lap of this season. 7 seconds, and Tinnis has now just got ahead of Wolf, by the way, so Wolf's compromised. But now look, Landmark will try and hold it up. El Rose on the 39th lap, ran the outside. I mean, brave stop there from YouTube boys. He's off the circuit, now he's back on it. He'll have to lift off though, he'll have a slowdown penalty, and you can see him just lifting off there. Now, side by side, down towards Lecombe. Let's see, has he got the inside advantage then? Has he got that straight line speed? Tinnis will have the inside, Wolf will have the outside. Who's latest on the brakes? I think Tinnis the brakes late. Wolf tries to hold the outside line. Now he'll have the inside line. Can't do it because Tinnis cuts him off like a headless chicken. And no way, Jose, you're going to come through there, Wolf. But good battling there, side by side up. Just about call it up the top of Fran Elrose there. Luckily, no big moments there. Yeah,
Tinnis had the inside line, used well within his right to use the whole track. Just squeezed Dylan a little bit, but Dylan had an opportunity to hang it around the outside of Lecombe to have the inside, but once again, Tinnis was just a little bit further ahead and just cut him off. But a good bit of battling towards the end of the race there. See Jasko and Lewis going through X corner.
Yep, bit of a mistake there from Jasko. Railroad stepping out. Easy to do that, of course, as it comes to night time. I don't think the Stars starting to form if they did, but I don't think the Stars really. But they do sort of form occasionally in this game. The Moon does, at least. The moon isn't a star, you know, so I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, things in the sky occasionally spawn. There, talking about the moon. There's the moon. There's that big. There's the big thing with the face on it, which people sometimes see. Of course, very famous film there, and you can see up our roofs. It's always a beautiful shot in nighttime up our roofs when you got this dark nighttime, of course, where it's not directly pitch black. But you just get that beautiful view. Yes, there's some Big Kid Daddy closing up each other, and I think that's Big Kid Daddy's got a big issue. I think so.
Yeah,
that is a big issue. Steering wheel failure.
Yeah.
That's steering wheel.
Something's wrong. Oh, it's so close to the end of the race as well. He's carrying on anyway. I think maybe something's wrong. Either pedals or steering wheel. I don't know what is going on with this
down to 6.4 penalty wise, by the way, unless he's got another one. If he hasn't, still looking good. Jazzman on score for another victory this season. He started the season in sunshine and happiness. He's going to finish it not where he wanted to be, and that is Vectra coming up to that, by the way, who I believe should probably get out of the way before the end of the race. I think he'd probably rather finish it now rather than later. But Jazzman, as long as nothing happens to him now, he's only got really, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners, give or take, to go before he wins yet another race this season. I think his third, or if I'm not mistaken.
Here's a question. With the championship thrown out of proportions now, because Gaza doesn't seem to win a championship, are we going to see these guys stick around for next season to battle out for another 10 rounds, or is some of them going to make the transfer over to PC?
Well, let's see. I don't think Jazzman will for the time being. I think he's going to stay here.
It's going to be his 5th win, by the way.
5th win of the season. He's taken half the wins this season. They said it needs to be better next season, they'll say. He was consistent, made a few mistakes, a few disconnections, but he'll win the final race of the season at the first of the decade. Jazzman begins where it finished. He wins. Papano, second in the Audi. But unless we are very much mistaken by Raxa through the last corner, we didn't expect it. We thought it was all going to be Gaza. He is going to be the champion this season. Unless we're mistaken. Which we like.
Provisional champion until
that's the word.
Further confirmed.
Provisional. Gaza through the last corner. Disappointing. Got caught out at the start. Potential still champion. We'll find out. He got the line in 4th. Tinnis in 5th. Wolf in 6th. Then we wait for Jasko and Skuld. Inventor, by the way, he still has to do another lap because he didn't end up waiting for the guys. And he's just gone off into the wall. Wolf there, Jasko across the line. He'll finish in 7th. Skulls, 8th position then in the end of the race. Then waiting for the Ferrari of Coco in 9th. Solid job for him again. 9th position, the Ferrari struggling. He flashes his lights in happiness as well as across the line. Down there in 9th. Jam will finish in 10th as well. Wait for him. ESS is 12th. Big Kid Daddy is 13th. For now, we're just waiting for the solemn of Mr. Vectro to cross the line in due course. With Ethan, very much a race of two portions then. You're very silent at the start, but really silent at the end of it. There's a little drama at the start as well.
Yeah, like throughout this season, very much a tale of two. A lot of drama, a bit of stalemate, and a bit more drama and a bit more stalemate. But Evo, I think this season's provided all of it. Drama, chaos, brilliant races, a bit of controversy as well. But overall, a good season following on from last season. I think, and I hope it will carry on into season 15. The drivers appear to have finished now. Indeed. Well, we'll just wait a few seconds for all our drivers to join. As I can hear a few of them already in the background, so we'll just wait a few more moments. And well, actually, whilst we wait here for a little bit, Ethan, what would you say your driver of the day is? Driver Papano. Papano. It's gotta be Papano. I'm sorry. Second place in an Audi that has got less power in a straight line than all the cars here. Even though it uses the same engine as a Lamborghini, came second and did a 2:18.7. A 2:18.7. The last time I've seen an Audi go that fast was Gordy Much, VP So Race a lot. Obviously, Gordy Much no longer races with us because he's got his own outside racing stuff going on. But Papano absolutely smashed it out the ballpark today, so he gets top marks from me. Good race there, Papano. Very much a brilliant race. Indeed, and if I have to give my driver of the day, I will give it to the man who won this race, because from the first lap he was second, and I don't know what happened unless I went blind for an entire lap. But the winner of this race, who had I possibly imagined the best first lap in the history of the universe, Jazzman, what did you do? How did that happen?
I was keeping an eye on De Thomas at the top. So I left a bit of a gap to, I think Wolf was in front of me. And then when I saw De Thomas go, I went as well, which seemed to give me a good jump on the guys. I think they were watching the other drivers, not the leader, when he went. So I got a good start there. And then, then I think I was like 6th or 7th or 8th. And then, then a couple of guys made mistakes in front. And then before you knew it, I was 2nd place.
Yeah, it was just like from back to front, and then of course you went on to win the race. Had phenomenal pace, I must say. And how was the car out there? Especially, you had a few twitchy moments up the car. I saw it one or twice, but apart from that, it looked pretty comfortable.
The car was very decent. Just a couple of times I nearly lost it. By hitting the curbs a bit at a funny angle, but the final 5 laps were very tricky. So I decided to be extra careful into the heavy braking zones because I didn't want to throw it away. And luckily, I had a good buffer to 2nd place where I could, luckily, take it a bit easy because the car was getting quite dodged there in the heavy braking zones at the end.
Indeed, well, 70 points was 70 or 71 points actually for you, because you got the fast lap as well, if I'm not very much mistaken.
Yes.
Now to 2nd position, which isn't here. Papano isn't here, but we'll go down to the next person in the order, which is Byraxa. And unless we're very much mistaken, you are the new AOR GT3 Tier 1 champion.
Yes,
I'm
he
best if
is.
mistaken. He is. There we go.
is.
Confirmation.
Congratulations.
New
Wow.
champion.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. You
So
are champion.
tell us, how are you feeling? Tell us your emotions.
Well, I thought Gaz won it. Was it a drop score or something? Because we weren't sure before during the race if there was or wasn't. But I'm feeling pretty happy then. Tried to keep it as clean as I could during the race, stay out of trouble, and hope to get a good position in the end. So that's what I done. The car was all very slidey at the end. The rear tyres, there was no grip at all. So not to spin was an achievement.
Indeed. Well, I mean, because I feel like congratulations on your championship. I'm not too mistaken. Your first season in Tier 1 and straight into the top box. I don't think I remember the last person who went straight from a lower tier to win a championship. So congratulations to you, my friend. Now, moving down to the next driver in thus battle of positions, it is Tinus, who had a good battle with Wolf a little bit, catching right to the end and overtook him with a couple of laps to go. Very silent for you from the start, was really caught out and down the field with Gaza, but take us through your race, Tinus.
Well, the race was over going into Le Comp. There was a big pileup, or at least it seemed like that for me. Wolfman just braked and almost completely stopped and went into the back of him. And yeah, got 10 or 11 damage at the front, so race over.
So yeah, I've struggled from there, then. So talking of that start, actually, we'll just quickly go back to Byrak. So at the start, if I'm not mistaken, it was you. You were driving on the grass nearly down towards the Comet. Take us through that, if it was you, I think it was.
So coming through Ruiz Radion, the car got a bit on the stereo, had to lift off a bit, but it's got Tinnis run on me, and I think it was Jam in front of me. He got a slightly worse run than me, so Tinnis went to the left, and there was a gap to go right, so I went to the right of Jam, but he slowly started coming more right and right and right. So I was starting to go on the grass, and just before the braking zone, I backed out and braked, and I think Jam maybe missed his braking zone, or was a slight bit of contact, and he went diving up the inside of one or two cars.
Indeed. Well, we cut to you because you were driving the grass and we thought that was about to be a monumental accident. Exactly when that happened, everyone in front crashed into each other, so that happened. Well, moving downwards to our next driver, Wolf, again, another good result for you. A very silent race, though, you must say. Almost a minute off the pace of the guys in front, and you mentioned it earlier on to me, it's like two different tiers in one tier sometime, that kind of just top guys and then just everyone else, and then everyone else sometimes below that. But to take us through your race, had a good battle with a few drivers, had some good scraps as well, especially that brilliant side-by-side moment up Elridge and Radion between you and, of course, Tinus.
Yeah, it was an okay race. I mean, coming into the on the start, it was completely unacceptable, to be honest. You know, it's a 40-lap race, and there's cars coming up the inside on the grass and everything, and there's going to be crashes and chaos. And then, obviously, I hit a car in front of me that stopped, which gave me some damage, and then obviously, Tinus hit me as well, which I didn't realise he did at the time. But you know, it's the first lap of the race, and I'm coming down the Kemmel Straight, and I can see on the outside, I think it was Papano who was 4 wheels on the grass, and maybe someone else as well. And then, so I lift off coming into the braking zone, and then Jam suddenly 4 wheels on the grass on the inside, and I'm just like, there's obviously going to be a crash. And then I got spun out at the bus stop. So it was a race of recovery from there, and had a good battle with Tinnis in the end, but my car had completely fallen out of the window at that point. You know, there was no way I was keeping him behind me, but I thought I'll give it a go. But yeah, it was an okay race in the end, but needs to be a bit more careful at the start, possibly next season.
Yeah, indeed. Well, moving down to a man who had a very lonely race as well, is the first of the two Audis. It is Lewis. Very silent for you. Had a little bit of a few moments battling away with one of the other Lamborghinis during the race, a little bit of contact, but take us through your race.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had a good battles with the top guys.
Yeah, had good pace as well.
Unfortunately, I couldn't keep up, but I find it quite fun.
Yeah,
Good
indeed.
race.
I had a bit of a mistake through Stavilo. The corner you tell me not to touch, Lewis, you touched accidentally. Very lucky that it didn't put you in the wall, wasn't it? Take us through when you go on that curb.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise for me because I've took that curb loads of times before and it's never happened. But I suppose this time the bad luck came to me.
Indeed, and you had a battle with can't remember which driver it was. One of the Lamborghinis as well.
I had a battle
near the end
with
of the race.
Jasco, towards the end.
Jasco. To take us through that battle because it went on for about a good 6-7 laps.
Yeah, that was fun. It was on similar pace and we had the same penalty until I got another second. But yeah, it was quite good. I was pushing too much towards the end, but I just couldn't catch up. And surprisingly, I think I was quicker in the straight line than that Lambo. Don't know how.
Yep, you were.
That's the first.
Indeed. Yeah, the Audi seemed very quick as well. So like Papano.
Papano outperformed it. He did really well.
Incredible job. And well, moving down to our next man, it is Mr. Vectro, my good old buddy, old pal, to take us through what was a very again silent race there with drama and very weird shenanigans going on in front of you.
A lot of weird shenanigans. Let's begin with Le Com, lap 1. I went down the inside. I didn't actually want to, and I had a bit of a too acute angle, and I went up down the inside of a green car. I think it was ESA or Camo. I think it was Camo. But I'm just looking at the replay right now, and I see that Coco flipped upside down in. He was upside down in Le Com as well, and there was a lot of things going on, and it was really close as well between me and Wolf at the exit of those complex section, and I went side by side with someone else up Eau Rouge. So it was quite an entertaining race. At the end, 11th, not too disappointed, but what I was pretty disappointed about was that I pitted when I was about 10th or 11th, and then after I got out of the pits, I was 13th, and I was like, well. Is anybody else going to pit or not? Because I lost a lot of positions.
Yeah, our team, everyone went for the overcut strategy, going out very late, of course, like they used to do in the older days in F1. But yeah, drama as well. I have to review that because I didn't see that on the cameras because of how bad they are into the com sometimes.
I will show you later on my share plan.
You will show me later. I want to see that now. But Ethan, have you got any words for our drivers?
Actually, yes, I do. Boyrax, now that you are a champion, do you plan to carry the title into next season? So do you plan on doing a championship defense on PS4, or do you Gaza plan on moving to a different platform?
Yeah, it should be racing next season. I don't see why not.
So that's very good to hear. So there'll be plenty next season. What we like.
Indeed. Well, I suppose, Ethan, what we mentioned in the stream, you are joining next season, which would mean I need to find another co-com. So if anyone's got any co-coms anywhere just lying around that they want to pass me, because as it turns out that I'm just cursed and can't find any of them, I'll be very appreciative if someone can find me a co-com.
I'm planning to race, so I'm afraid I've got to disappoint you.
Oh, no. Gonna have to hire drive commentators, someone. Gonna have to hire a cameraman. But I suppose, Ethan, in final words, fantastic season from me. Fantastic season from you. Fantastic season from all the drivers. And for the final time this season and the first time this decade, because it confuses me, because this season started last decade. This season is a decade old, nearly. Take care and goodbye from us in the commentary box. And see
6 to 7 weeks, yeah.